go to the very root of your deepest anxieties. You're not truly loved. You're merely tolerated. Does that sting? It ought to, because society has conditioned you to crave others' approval, even though that very approval is its cruelest trap. From childhood, you've been taught to be agreeable, to charm people into liking you. But no one warned you that kindness is an invitation to betrayal. When you bend over backward to please, you expose your weakest points. Every grin, every over-the-top act of generosity reveals your vulnerability, and those around you silently gauge how far they can push you before you break. Deep down, even if you won't admit it, you understand that love is fragile, fickle, and subject to sudden shifts. Years of goodwill can be demolished in the blink of an eye by a single, careless word or an unforeseen mistake. In contrast, fear endures. It isn't a fleeting emotion or a mood. It carves itself into memory like a scar that never heals. I'm not talking about the kind of fear that creates contempt or hostility. That type of fear is self-defeating. I mean respect born of fear. A respectful trepidation that keeps challengers at bay, because they know that crossing you comes at a steep price. Here's a harsh truth most won't admit. In wielding power, it's safer to be feared than to be loved. History abounds with leaders who craved universal affection, only to be undone by those who swore eternal loyalty. Excessive kindness is perceived as weakness, and in a world that won't hesitate to exploit weakness, you must learn to instill a controlled fear. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this perfectly. Though modern society likes to pretend it rejects his teachings, in practice we cling to them more than ever. We've been convinced that firmness equals cruelty, that setting firm boundaries is tyranny. But who profits from that myth? Those waiting for your downfall. They bide their time until you lower your guard, then strike at your most vulnerable spot. People act in their own self-interest. Their loyalty endures only as long as it suits them. Their respect persists only as long as they fear consequences. The art of power lies in knowing when to wield force and when to invoke law. Laws without the threat of force are empty promises. Force without laws is brutality that breeds hatred. A wise leader balances both, enforcing order with authority, yet avoiding needless cruelty. You might call this viewpoint cynical or harsh, but take a look around. How often have genuinely kind people been trampled by those they helped? How many times has indulgence been mistaken for permission to betray? And yet, you still cling to the illusion that love alone will shield you from treachery. It won't. Your real safeguard is a reputation for firm, respected authority, a fear that never devolves into loathing. True power isn't popularity. It's not being adored by everyone or behaving as they expect. It's commanding respect, and yes, instilling a touch of fear. That kind of respect outlasts the fragile praise that love provides. This isn't about becoming a tyrant, it's about grasping human nature. People respect what they fear losing, and scorn what they take for granted. Consider unpredictability your closest ally. If you're always harsh, people adapt. If you're always lenient, they test you. But if you're firm only when necessary, your decisive actions become legendary. When everyone assumes you'll tolerate mistakes, that's precisely the moment to respond with unexpected resolve. Speak sparingly and clearly so that your words carry weight, because the greatest mistake a leader can make is trying to please everyone. In the end, you please no one and betray your own principles. History remembers those who acted decisively when others wavered. A leader's strength is measured not by popularity, but by the ability to make tough decisions that few applaud, yet all recognize as essential. Hesitation costs respect. Decisive action earns followers, even those who publicly question you. Now, face a painful reality. Power is lonely. The higher you climb, the fewer people understand your choices. Accepting this isolation frees you from emotional dependence, allowing you to decide objectively. Surround yourself only with those who prove their loyalty when tested. Keep a respectful distance from opportunists. Mystery is a potent shield. Never reveal everything about your intentions. People can't harm what they don't fully know. The essence of power lies not in amassing force, but in mastering others' weaknesses. Identify what moves people, what they fear, what they desire, and use those insights to guide their behavior. While others chase approval, the savvy leader studies motivations. Machiavelli didn't write to create tyrants, but to expose an inconvenient reality. Humans act from self-interest, not pure goodwill, reject illusions, and govern from a position of advantage. Would you rather be seen as nice or as strong? Society pressures us to choose goodness, yet weakness invites exploitation. True strength blends measured kindness with unwavering firmness. Generosity doled out strategically, never indiscriminately. Respect is won through clear action, not vacillation. Doubt erodes respect faster than any act of authority. Finally, remember this: power is never truly owned. It's a shared illusion, an unspoken contract between you and those you lead. Force and laws only reinforce that belief. Once that collective faith dissolves, your power vanishes. The greatest talent of a leader is to keep that contract alive, renew it, challenge it occasionally, and remind everyone who's at the helm. That's the difference between a genuine leader and a mere tyrant. The former understands the fragility of power and the necessity of perpetual vigilance. The latter believes power is absolute, loses touch with reality, and ultimately falls. Balancing that ever-present tension, that razor edge between firmness and leniency, is your greatest asset. So ask yourself this uncomfortable question: do you truly crave power, or are you chasing the illusion of security it offers? If you yearn for absolute peace, you've picked the wrong pursuit. Authentic leadership is perilous, disquieting, and never entirely safe. And therein lies its allure. In that abyss of controlled uncertainty emerge the architects of history, those who embrace risk rather than flee it. Remember, as long as you wield power, you're forever walking the edge. Every step carries weight, every choice bears real consequences. If comfort is your goal, abandon this path now. But if you aim to leave an indelible mark, to shape the world instead of being shaped by it, then welcome the discomfort, master it, even relish it. True greatness dwells in constant tension. You've come this far because a spark, an unquenchable flame of leadership, burns within you. And here's the key: greatness isn't about unerring correctness, but about strategic movement even in defeat. Victory isn't never losing, it's never conceding. True leaders excel at the art of the comeback, resurrecting themselves time and again from every set. Effective authority requires no needless explanation. Excuses expose insecurity. Decisions that stand on their own command respect. Keep your power visible yet opaque, never fully transparent, so that mystery lies beneath the surface. The human mind fills those gaps with reverence. People respect what they don't fully understand and fear what they can't control. To master leadership, remember, power isn't given, it's seized, and then demands constant vigilance to hold. Act with foresight, wield force sparingly, but decisively, ensuring none doubt your capacity to do so if pressed. Manage respect and fear without slipping into hatred. In doing so, you'll command any environment. Ultimately, whoever controls minds controls reality. Those who grasp the delicate interplay of fear and respect will never be forgotten. Now choose. Will you be the leader who's loved but vulnerable, or feared but secure? Perhaps with enough skill you can embody both, yet always be mindful that the line between respect and hatred is perilously thin. Can you tell when someone fears you versus truly respects you? Pure fear yields immediate compliance. Genuine respect compels loyalty even in your absence. Seek not just obedience, but inspired action. A leader's true power lies in knowing when to apply pressure and when to ease the reins. Constant domination exhausts. Occasional reprieve enlightens. Let others err, then observe how much they value your guidance. The finest teacher sparks questions, not feeds answers. The supreme Machiavellian leader is not the one with instant solutions, but the one who subtly convinces others they cannot succeed without him. Silence is your most potent weapon. In the hush that follows your words, others project their insecurities into the void, hanging on your next move. But tension must be measured. Too much breeds irrational fear, which swiftly turns to hatred, and hatred sows sabotage. Always calibrate the emotions you evoke, then soften the moment with a gesture of empathy, just enough to keep control. Praise, too, must be surgical. Overuse dilutes its power, while sparing, precise commendation forges loyalty stronger than any threat. Treat praise as a rare currency to be dispensed judiciously. And never neglect your rivals. The most dangerous is the one unaware you've marked them. Rather than eliminate challengers at once, let them linger in the shadows, let them test you, so their eventual downfall affirms your supremacy without a word from you. Above all, become an unblinking observer. Detect the slightest shift in posture, tone, or glance. Let them believe they've evaded your notice. Then, when the moment arrives, use that intelligence to strike when and where they least expect. Every leader will face moments of frailty, crises that threaten to strip away all authority. In those moments, your reaction defines you more than 1,000 triumphs. Stay composed. Panic erodes respect. Calm fortifies it. History remembers not those who ruled in fair weather, but those who stood unshaken in the storm. Leadership is no mere title. It's an intimate dance with human emotion, respect, and fear. There is no one-size-fits-all formula, only tailored strategies that acknowledge the complexity and fragility of people. After all this, are you ready to wield real power? The kind that springs from profound psychological insight and Machiavellian cunning? Choose wisely, for there is no turning back. Choose wisely, for there is no turning back. Now, let us dive even deeper into the hidden architecture of power, extending our exploration through 4,000 words of cold precision and unyielding strategy. We begin by forging the mindset that underpins unassailable leadership. 1. The mindset of unbreakable leaders. True leaders share a psychological foundation more akin to an immovable monolith than a pliable reed. They internalize unwavering self-belief not as arrogance but as necessity. Each morning, before the world stirs, they rehearse their imperatives, to act decisively, to anticipate every outcome, and to neutralize doubt at its source. Doubt, they understand, is the seed of paralysis. It must be uprooted entirely. This cultivation of mental armor demands daily rituals, meditative reflection on past triumphs, rigorous analysis of failures, and the relentless questioning of one's own motives. Through this ritualistic rehearsal, the leader crafts an inner sanctum of conviction, impervious to external tumult. Within this inward fortress, empathy is not discarded, but weaponized. By habitually scrutinizing their own emotional reactions, adept leaders learn to predict and manipulate the emotions of others. They practice detachment, observing their feelings with the same clinical curiosity they reserve for an opponent's body language. In doing so, they achieve what few can: an emotional equilibrium that turns vulnerability into strategic advantage. 2. The architecture of influence. Influence is not an art. It is an engineered system of levers and fulcrums. Respect and fear serve as two primary pillars upon which this structure stands. But a true architect of authority does not erect these pillars once. They are maintained through perpetual vigilance. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to recalibrate the balance. A subtle shift in tone here, a withheld word there, a measured display of empathy in just the right moment. Consider 3 foundational levers: information, reciprocity, and symbolism. Controlling information means deciding precisely what is revealed and when. Constant transparency dissolves mystery. Total secrecy breeds distrust. The masterful leader opts for controlled revelation. A drip feed of insight that entices subordinates to glean further guidance from their present. Reciprocity is managed through rewards and recognition, but only with surgical precision. Praise is earned, not dispensed. Gratitude is elicited, not assumed. When a subordinate receives commendation, it imprints like a hallmark, forever linking the leader's favor to their performance. Symbolism, the final lever, is the silent language of authority. The way you enter a room, the cadence of your speech, the minimalism of your gestures. Such symbols imprint upon the collective consciousness long after words have faded. 3. The laboratory of power. Power is best refined in a laboratory, an experimental arena, where hypotheses are tested against human behavior. In this lab, small-scale experiments guide large-scale tactics. Before implementing sweeping reforms, the prudent leader launches pilot initiatives, a new policy tested on a single department, a novel incentive trialed with a trusted lieutenant. These micro-experiments generate precise data on resistance points, loyalty indices, and morale shifts. Armed with this intelligence, the leader scales successful trials and abandons or adjusts those that produce backlash. Within the laboratory, data without context is worthless. Numbers alone cannot reveal the undercurrents of envy, ambition, or allegiance. Thus, the leader augments quantitative metrics with qualitative intelligence. Anonymous surveys, whispered conversations in corridors, and discreet observations of body language. Only by synthesizing both domains can the true dynamics of power be deciphered. 4. The alchemy of tactics. Tactics are where Machiavellian doctrine transforms from theory into action. Yet alchemy is the apt metaphor, the mixture of base elements, rules, force, fear, respect, into the gold of genuine authority. The leader's tactical palette includes coercion, persuasion, and incentives. Coercion, though potent, is reserved for moments of existential threat. Persuasion, more subtle, animates everyday interactions, a well-crafted argument that aligns the audience's interests with the leader's objectives. Incentives, the third element, shape behavior by offering a glimpse of reward beyond mere survival. One advanced tactic involves strategic ambiguity, the art of maintaining flexible commitments that can be reinforced or renegotiated as circumstances evolve. By promising a reward without fixing the precise terms, the leader retains leverage. Subordinates must perform optimally to learn the full extent of the reward. Conversely, ambiguous threats of punishment compel discipline. No one dares test the limits of a leader who keeps them guessing. 5. The continuum of control. Control is not binary. It exists on a continuum from laissez-faire distance to iron-fisted grip. Masterful leaders traverse this spectrum dynamically. At times they recede, granting autonomy to capable lieutenants. At others they intervene with relentless oversight to quash nascent challenges. This oscillation, executed unpredictably, prevents complacency and ensures that no one ever fully masters the environment, except the leader. This approach requires acute situational awareness. The discerning leader surveys the organizational climate, signs of overconfidence, pockets of dissent, emerging cliques. They then calibrate their degree of involvement to preempt threats or to empower trusted subordinates. Through this continuous modulation, authority remains ever-present, yet never heavy-handed. 6. The unseen contracts. Every relationship within the sphere of influence is governed by an unseen contract, a silent agreement delineating expectations, rewards, and punishments. The leader's role is to draft, renew, and renegotiate these contracts without overt discussion. Loyalty, for example, is secured by fulfilling promises on grand gestures, while betrayal is deterred by swift, decisive punishment for minor infractions. Crucially, the leader must monitor adherence to these implicit contracts. They note shifts in tone, hesitancy in execution, and whispers of discontent as early warnings. By addressing breaches publicly, yet proportionally, they reinforce the binding nature of these agreements. Over time, these actions entrench a culture where trust and trepidation coexist in calibrated balance. 7. The discipline of self. To govern others, one must first govern oneself. Discipline manifests in the leader's daily regimen: austere routines, unbroken focus, and rigorous self-assessment. Each decision is logged, every failure is dissected, each victory is contextualized. This unrelenting self-discipline cultivates mental clarity and strategic agility. Moreover, the leader controls their own visibility. They emerge from solitude only when necessary, retreating into it whenever reflection is required. This cyclical pattern of presence and absence not only safeguards their mental acuity, but also reinforces the aura of mystery critical to sustained authority. 8. The bridge between moments. Finally, consider each moment of leadership as a single bridge between past achievements and future imperatives. The leader's challenge is to traverse these bridges with unwavering confidence, leaving an indelible imprint on each span. They do so by weaving narratives of triumph, stories of narrow escapes, of obstacles overcome, of the leader's foresight saving the day. These narratives become legend, reinforcing the leader's legitimacy in collective memory. As you stand at the threshold of power, recall that every bridge you cross strengthens or weakens your legacy. Your footsteps echo long after you have departed. Choose your path deliberately. Let each step be a statement of resolve, each decision a testament to your mastery of human nature. 9. The eternal game of shadows. Power perpetually lurks in the interstices between light and darkness. Beyond the overt structures of hierarchy and command exists a subtler realm of influence, where puppets dance to unseen strings. The master leader thrives here, orchestrating events behind the curtain. To succeed, you must cultivate 3 intertwined capabilities: discretion, misdirection, and silent correction. Discretion begins with information partitioning. Not every confidant deserves the full dossier. Clues can fracture trust and foment jealousy. Instead, compartmentalize knowledge. Reveal context only to those whose stakes align with desired outcomes. For others, offer tantalizing fragments that direct their speculation, ensuring they search for answers in the labyrinth you conceive, rather than challenging your authority. Misdirection is the science of drawing attention away from critical